Welcome to Chronic Combat Conversations, a live look at our best bets, picks, and predictions for every UFC event. With your host, TV Scouting MMA, and
the Guru, back again for UFC 308 from Abu Dhabi. We've got Ilia Topuria defending his featherweight belt against Max Blessed Holloway, the BMF champion. And in the co-main event, you've got Robert the Weeper Whitaker in a title contender eliminator versus Khamzat Borz Chimaev. Absolute banger. It's a 5-round co-main event. But before we could get into this absolute banger of a card, we have a very, very special guest in the building, a very close friend of ours, pro sports bettor, probably one of the sharpest MMA handicappers in the business. Bets and Picks MMA from the Magic and Andrew betting show. What is going on, Andrew?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me. I'm definitely looking forward to chopping it up with you. We should have a great card ahead of us.
Hell yeah. This is going to be an absolutely amazing event. You know that they don't mess around when they go over to Abu Dhabi, Saudi Arabia. They bring the best of the best. These guys are getting top ticket to come out there. They've got backups for like each of these top events, just in case something happens last second. They're prepared to fill us in at the last moment. I mean, but even like Diego Lopez, like, I don't even want to have to be used here because I want to see how this actual main event goes. Ilia Topuria, Max Holloway. I mean, doesn't get any better than this. But before we can break it down, and we owe that to you guys, real quick, if you could do the right thing, please, if you're not already somehow following Mr. Andrew Gombis, go ahead, do that real quick. Magic and Andrew MMA betting show, and then he's also Bets and Picks MMA on X. Awesome guy, really smart, really great handicapper, and just doing fantastic. And then me and the Guru out here, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Costs you nothing but a good time. And we do this every week, live Thursday, 8 p.m. And man, without further ado, let's kick it off, man. We got El Matador, Ilia Topuria versus Max Blessed Holloway. Plus 205 on the Blessed side, minus 250 Topuria, over 4.5 plus 110, under 4.5 minus 140. I mean, we've got the matchup of a lifetime here. They're even in reach, but 4-inch height advantage for Max Holloway. And you can go back to the other way because Topuria is going to come in 5 years younger in this matchup. Max has a lot of tread on the tires, absorbing the most significant head strikes without being knocked down, and has never been knocked down in UFC history. But did it happen in the Gaethje fight? That's up for debate, right? Overall, I think it's absolutely incredible, and it's really the unstoppable force meets the immovable object, and that immovable object is Max Holloway's chin. If Ilia's not getting an early finish here, and if Max Holloway's takedown defense holds up, man, we're going to be in for one hell of a fight. And someone I know close to me, shout out James, he was saying this could look like Zhang Wei Li versus Joanna from a stand-up banger perspective. And I mean, both these guys have crazy chins. We've got the new gloves, the over 4.5 at plus 110. If Ilia can't knock out Max, I don't see why this wouldn't go the distance and be an absolutely close decision. And that's why minus 250 on the Topuria side gives me serious pause. So Ilia is my pick. I think he has a chance to find the finish, whereas Max, if you're going to do it, go right back to the Guru well, right? The round 3, 4, 5 knockout, because it could be interesting, right? If he could put on the pace. And Ilia, I think he's ready for it, though. So I'm going to go with him, and by decision. I'm curious about the pricing, but Guru, what are you thinking? Aussie fight fan, good day. It could be Reaper season. Look out. All right, we'll get there next. But Guru, what do you think about this amazing main event?
We were just talking about this before we went live. This is unequivocally the best fight, the best matchup that the UFC can put together right now, bar none. This is the best fight the UFC's had all year long. I am unbelievably excited for it. Ilia Topuria, really, truly, we were kind of, everybody was kind of saying about Sean O'Malley. This guy's the real superstar. He's got the real chance to go global. And he's got the right money behind him. I know, like, that's kind of like a little bit narrative based, but the way that this guy prepares, he's already been preparing like a champion. He doesn't feel the pressure of these moments. It's very Conor McGregor-esque. It's kind of what he's built for. It's really, really interesting to see how this is going to go. Max Holloway, I'm not sure can get a finish here, right? Ilya's too young, durable, fast. We've seen Max already struggle with counter shots from Volkanovski, right? We've already seen him getting tagged by Korean Zombie. Sure, that fight happens in Singapore, but guess what? This fight's also halfway across the world. So I think that weight cut becomes harder and harder. And I really do like Ilia Topuria here. Money line becomes prohibitive in a guy like, again, Max Holloway. We've never seen him this price. I mean, this is unprecedented territory. I have nowhere to go but to go, like TB said, unfortunately. Hate to ride those coattails, but I think the value is on Ilia Topuria by decision. The knockout is at plus 165. That's I don't know. I don't love it, but the decision's plus 250. Max is durable as hell. Maybe it's the Calvin Kattar performance in reverse. I'm not sure, but goddamn, am I really just excited to watch this from as a fan perspective. I'm not sure that I will get involved from a betting perspective, just because it's such a fucking nuts fight. But Mr. Gambas, how are you feeling about this fight? I know how your counterpart, Mr. Magic, who is not my biggest fan, feels about this fight. He definitely likes Ilia Topuria. Who do you like?
Yeah, I'm excited about this one. Little fun fact / humble brag. I've actually bet on Ilia Topuria in every single one of his UFC fights besides the Josh Emmett fight because he was minus 400 there. I'm picking him again here. I mean, you guys mentioned a lot of advantages here, including, just the fact that Max has taken so much damage and Topuria really hasn't taken much at all. I think if anyone has grappling upside here, it's Topuria. Plus Max, going up and really filling out at 155, draining himself to get back down to 145 at this point in his career. Seems like a dangerous idea. Topuria, I really like him on the inside here. Like, I think when they're fighting from a close distance, he could knock Holloway out. I think that, he's just very well-rounded, very crisp. I think he has a power edge here. So I think he gets it done. I'll be different here and say he gets it done inside the distance.
The dirty boxing from Ilia Topuria is I don't know, top 5 in the whole UFC. I mean, he is fantastic, and his hand speed is a problem. And yeah, again, somebody like Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje's slow, man. Not like Ilia is so much faster. So I think, again, to your point, Gambas, just the physicality standpoint, right? Beefing up at this age, at how old is he? 30, 33 years old, right? To physically cut that muscle down. I'm sure he's much healthier at 155. So this is a tough cut for him.
All right. Beautiful. We are moving on. We've got the co-main event. Robert the Reaper Whitaker, Bobby Knuckles, plus 210 versus Khamzat Chimaev Boers, minus 258. Over 2.5, minus 125. Under 2.5, minus 105. Might I mention this is a 5-round fight? We're going to go ahead. Guru, do you feel confident to take the lead on this one?
Confident in this one? I mean, this is a scary fucking fight. Robert Whitaker coming off a short notice replacement win, right, against Ikram Aliskerov, who came in short notice for Chimaev. Whitaker gets his first finish since like 2017, dusts him in round 1. It's a beautiful performance for Rob. Khamzat Chimaev is just such a fucking enigma. You're not sure exactly what's going on outside the cage. He's constantly sick. There's always like retirement rumors. He's hanging out with Chechnyan dictators. Like there's just a lot there. I just think that the size and physicality of Khamzat is really something that Whitaker hasn't. When has Whitaker faced a grappler like this? I know that Whitaker has historical wonderful takedown defense, Whitaker's one of my favorite fighters of all time. This is a tough pick for me to make, but I do think that Chimaev gets it done. I think that he's probably prepared and ready. It's very possible that the cardio thing could rear its head again, but historically, the durability of Robert Whitaker is questionable, and he could definitely get rocked at some point. And if he gets rocked, that's when Khamzat's just going to go ragdoll mode. And this is everything set up for Khamzat Chimaev to win. What did I bet? I have a ticket on Khamzat Chimaev to be middleweight champ 2025 at like plus 800. Got a little half unit sprinkle on that. We'll see if he gets there. He needs this win to even have a chance at a title shot. So I'm going to go with Chimaev minus 250, but not exactly where I want to be. Do I sound staticky? That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's been an internet it's been better than it has been. Like 500% better than what it used to be with the headphone edition. So we're doing our best out here, people. There's only so many internet options. So Guru's going to reset. He'll make it back. Andrew, what do you got here?
Yeah, I'm going to pick Chimaev here. Obviously, my concern's similar to everyone else's in terms of him never having gone 5 rounds before. But I just think he's such a powerful physical grappler that Whitaker is for sure going to have problems early. And even in the Usman fight, I feel like even though, Chimaev did slow later on, it wasn't like he death gassed and got his ass kicked. Like he just slowed down and wasn't dominant anymore. And I kind of feel like that's probably more likely than him, slowing down and just getting finished. Like, we see some grapplers go out, dominate for 2 rounds, and they're just dead and the fight's pretty much over. I don't think that's the case here. I do think that Chimaev has a lot of finishing upside in the first couple rounds. I know that Usman won all 3, but I don't think a lot of people survive that Usman round 1. Like he's just the perfect style to do it. But I think a lot of these guys are going to get finished early in that fight, in that type of fight. So I'm going to pick Chimaev, and I'm going to pick him to get it done early.
Yeah, that's kind of my look here. Is I think just the sheer physicality and size differential, like it's going to be absolutely scary when it comes to the wrestling. The way you see Khamzat kind of manhandle people that are larger than him, from like just grab them in a body lock and just huck them around all over the place. Like DC's, you hear this guy eating like next to the octagon during Contender Series. He's got to be like 300 pounds. He's just like, here, DC, let me hug you and throw you around. Like when he gets his hands on Robert Whitaker, I don't think he's going to have to use that much energy to get him to the mat and then control him there. Dricus du Plessis, like the look on Whitaker's face when he got hip tossed there and ends up on bottom versus du Plessis. I mean, Khamzat's probably a little bit more explosive in round 1, especially. And like Andrew was saying, I don't know that he slows down so badly if he's getting this type of heavy top control against a guy that's really not that big of a 185er in Robert Whitaker. And I know he's beefed up. He's a fantastic striker. I just don't know how much he gets to use it here. I think it's over sooner than later, probably most likely by submission. I think just like the strength of getting to the back and sinking in the hooks and getting around the neck and, oh no, is Robert, and he's either going unconscious or tapping out. That's my vision here. But I think Khamzat round 1, round 2 combo is definitely worth a look. And he seems parlayable. I'm sorry, I think so. What do you think?
No, I just wanted to be sure that, like, again, this is Khamzat's real first test at middleweight, right? I mean, he had a fantastic last fight with Kamaru Usman up at 185, but Kamaru's not a middleweight. So it'll be interesting to see if the size is a factor. I mean, Kamaru's obviously a big welterweight. So
yeah, I think Kamaru's probably the same size, if not bigger than Bobby, with better wrestling.
Then in that case, yeah, I mean, you make fair points. And Whitaker's not going to be able to do his bouncing thing and do all that because you're bouncing, you're going to get taken down.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. Seems like we're all mostly in agreement here. I like it. All right, here we go. We got Magomed Mose Ankalaev versus Alexander Rakic. For this one, minus 410 Ankalaev, over 2.5 at minus 215. Rakic at plus 320, under 2.5 plus 165. Andrew, what do you think about this matchup? You got any pick here?
Yeah, I mean, I do think the line's a little bit too wide.
Mm-hmm.
If you told me that Ankalaev was going to go out here and attempt like a dozen takedowns, I'd maybe be a little bit hesitant. It'd still be dog or pass in that spot, but we just don't see Ankalaev go out there and commit to a wrestling heavy game plan. And Rakic's defensive wrestling, for the most part, is kind of a question mark. He hasn't really faced anyone that's the caliber of wrestler that's going to go out there and try to take him down over and over. On the feet, I think Ankalaev is the better finisher of the two and the more durable of the two, but I expect this to be competitive on minutes. So I think it's dog or pass, but I'll pick Ankalaev to win. I see like a 29-28 type of decision.
Yeah, I think the southpaw aspect on Ankalaev's side definitely helps out with dealing with the leg kicks of Rakic. And Jan Blachowicz is much more able to switch stances, check kicks, and throw damaging kicks of his own from both stances. So I think that's what gave Ankalaev such a hard time in that matchup, where Rakic kind of loads up on him. He's always from the orthodox stance when he's throwing him. And he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that really wants to engage in a firefight. And I think that's kind of the same idea as Ankalaev. Like, they both are on the play it safe side. They're both a little bit more low output unless their opponent is on the front foot. I think we could get a little bit of a staring contest in that aspect. Ankalaev probably has, I think he's going to be the stronger guy. I think he's going to be the better wrestler. I think I've seen him deal with someone going with a heavy wrestling attack. Like, I know Paul Craig's not the best from a takedown perspective, but I mean, he was shooting a bunch there. And Rakic, while he might try to, he's only really been able to wrestle some guys. Like Anthony Smith was basically pulling guard on him after he broke his leg. And I don't know, just the level of competition that Rakic has been able to wrestle against doesn't really inspire confidence that he could do it against a guy like Ankalaev. It's just trusting the fight IQ and the process of Ankalaev in a fight against another top tier athlete. Well, it's tough. So yeah, lean towards the over 2.5, lean towards the Ankalaev side, but at minus 410 and minus 215, at this point, it's probably time to dig in grandma's couch cushions and find something crazy or take a little pass on this fight. Guru?
I mean, I feel like I'm ready to do something crazy here. And, you guys feel free to call me crazy, but I'm going to go with Ankalaev by knockout. He needs a fucking statement desperately. They keep passing. They gave Khalil Roundtree a shot. If he wants a shot, he's been waiting all year. If you guys remember, he was the first opening card of the entire year facing Johnny Walker in a ridiculously stupid rematch in the Apex. He hasn't fought since. He needs a fucking statement. And while you look at Rakic, obviously he had the one where his knee exploded, but he's got 2 knockout losses here in the UFC. So I just feel that I do kind of like the over 1.5 still, because even Jiri took till later round 2 to get him done. But I feel like Ankalaev's overall pressure and need to get it done, both of their needs to honestly be impressive, should have this fight be more chaotic. And that's honestly where I'd want to look, just from a fade the narrative or value sense. But that's certainly not my best play of the night or anything like that. But I'm going to look Ankalaev KO, but I definitely like Ankalaev to get it done.
Nice. All right. Sounds like we're smelling Ankalaev, but it might not be bettable from a price perspective so much. Stay tuned if Grandma's Couch is being rated for this fight.
Yeah, I mean, listen, to your guys' point, if it goes the distance, look at the UFC stats, right? He's an even striker with he makes fights way too close all the time. So I totally understand where Andrew's coming from. From a money line perspective, it's totally dog or pass.
Amen. Hey guys, in the chat, please let us know your best bet. If you got one, we could talk about it a tiny bit, or show some love, maybe throw a like on the video. But we've got Lerone the Miracle Murphy minus 290, Dan 50K Ige plus 235, stepping up. Is he coming in short notice here against Lerone? Is that the story? Because I think Lerone was originally scheduled with a different matchup here. In which case,
I think you're right, but I'm actually not 100% sure. I'm going to look it up.
Yeah. So on that end, Lerone Murphy, he just seems to have a very high IQ way of fighting.
No,
Okay, fair enough.
this was Dan Ige's reward for stepping up on short notice.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So Dan Ige, shout out to you coming in. They're just about the same age. Lerone's got a 1-inch reach advantage, 2-inch reach, 2-inch height advantage, and he's going to be the quicker fighter here. He's got very good defensive wherewithal, and I think he's going to use his circular movement around the octagon to avoid the big shots from Ige, because Ige really only threatens from a boxing perspective. And while he's got good body head combinations, he doesn't do enough to corral fighters that have good footwork or that have an answer and can touch him first without being touched back. Like Cater, he was taller, he was longer. You couldn't take him down. Like, you're not just going to go and take down Lerone Murphy easily in this fight. I feel like Khamzat Chimaev and Lerone Murphy are screaming my name from a potential parlay perspective. As much as I love Robert Whitaker and Dan Ige, one of the potential doppelgangers on the TB side of things, I think that we could cook up a little 2-leg magic over here potentially. So we'll see where I end up.
You've piqued my interest. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
Because when you look at Lerone Murphy, who we unfortunately tried to fade with Edson Barboza, I mean, he lands 220 significant strikes and 4 takedowns on Edson Barboza with 5 minutes of control time. The dude is a fucking workhorse. Josh Cooleybow, 3 takedowns, 2 sub attempts, 59 strikes landed. He's doubling them up on strikes. If this guy decides to wrestle Danny Ige, Danny Ige is going down. Danny Ige has not fantastic takedown defense, 59% career takedown defense. It's just not ideal at all. So if Lerone goes for it aggressively enough, he's going to get it. And that's it. Right? But look at how, even though when Diego was tired, he was able to get that takedown. Right? So I just think that now that Lerone has shown that he has 5-round cardio, this is, unless Ige pulls out the 50K, unless you're taking Dan Ige by knockout plus 850, you can't be taking Dan Ige here. I'm going. Yeah, and I'm not doing that. Right. So what's Lerone Murphy's takedown defense? It's not great, but it's kind of a weird sample size because who's trying to wrestle Lerone Murphy? Just Zubaira Tukhugov, who, he probably won that fight.
Makwan.
And Makwan too.
And
Who's a really good first-round wrestler.
That was because he's the GOAT for 1 round, and then that's all he's got.
That one was heartbreaking though, because I didn't even feel like Makwan was gassed. Like, I think he just walked into a knee right when the
it was hilarious. It was awesome. He walked right into it.
Right into it.
He just after 5 minutes he turns into a pumpkin no matter what. It doesn't matter. It's midnight. You're a pumpkin. Sorry.
He's a good grappler though. He's a good grappler. And LeBron ended up with a lot of top time too in that fight. All right, Andrew, what do you got in this matchup?
Yeah, nothing for me here. I'm picking Murphy just because, as you guys mentioned, like, good volume. If anyone wrestles here, it's going to be him. Just tough to ignore some of the statistical edges he has. Like I said, great volume, probably better defensively. I thought he looked career best in his last fight. Ige's tough, though. He won't go away. So I'm not expecting like a blowout type fight, but I do think Murphy gets it done.
Yeah, makes sense to me. That's why I was actually asking Guru earlier if we should do like a point spread bet, and he's like, no, never. Don't trust the judges like that.
I can't. They're smoking crack. They're picking their ass. They're fucking jerking off. They're not paying attention.
Oh my God.
They're not watching the fight.
I hope they're not doing that stuff.
They're doing all of those things. Every single one of them at the same time.
What's up, Mushroom?
What's up, Mushroom? Good to see you, buddy.
Appreciate you, brother.
I'm telling you, these guys, they don't watch the fights. They don't watch them. Or the mob has their family at gunpoint. Like, it doesn't matter. They're not watching the fight, so I am not betting anything with the judges. The best thing to do is just to bet splits because they're not watching, so nobody's going to have the consensus.
Yeah. Wow. Rams tied it right up. Look at that.
Yeah, Kyron Williams, baby.
Nice.
I gotta interject here before we
please.
Break this
of course.
fight.
I need it.
What happened? No, it could be about. It doesn't matter what fight line.
Oh, okay.
What happened with all these great nicknames?
Well, all right. So here's the thing: if they have a UFC nickname, I can't like replace, but don't worry, we're coming up to some.
All right, I just want to make sure. I look forward to that every time I come. You know
So
that.
generally, based on the prestige of the fighter, like you're not gonna change up Lerone or Dan Igue's nickname because of their prestige.
Okay.
But if there's somebody like did Ankalaev have a nickname?
Mose, yeah, Mose
Right. So
Troop.
yeah, there you go. He
Yeah.
gave him Mose, so he did have one creative nickname, and that one I actually
that was the one I was looking at. I'm like, is that real?
Right.
Yes, I got it. Let's go.
That's how he does it. But that one I actually liked because he does kind of look like Mose. That's very funny.
It's all about the neck beard, baby.
Great.
Let's go. Oh, and we got another one here, another neck beard. So here, I'll give you a little flavor. We got Shara, Bullet for My Valentine, Magomedov.
That's terrible.
Versus Armin Superman Petrosian. I think he's going to pull a Brad Katona. They were both Superman. And I think Armin is going to be like the value, close striking decision. Very sad it didn't happen. But of course, they're going to give the fucking decision to the undefeated prospect in Shara Magomedov that they're clearly trying to promote. I feel like there's value up to -200 to play it straight. And Shara by decision, but they have over 2.5 at -345. So what if he does get a finish? Just take the money line. I think Shara should get it done here, but would I hate myself if I lose? Probably. So let's see how it goes. Probably to win 1 unit. That's what I'll risk. Guru?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I'm not exactly like people taking Petrosian on a dog shot. If I hear you say that Petrosian's going to grapple, who are we even talking about?
I'm not. Nope. No, sir. Thank you.
No, I'm not saying you. I'm saying people that are betting Petrosian. I've read it online. They said, well, he could even grapple. I'm like, well, I guess if I had listen to that point, if gun to my head, I had to choose who would shoot a takedown first. I guess it could be Petrosian.
Who's asking this question if they put a gun
exactly
to like who did?
And then the next part, which I guess is the major part of this handicap in my mind, is that people feel Armin Petrosian is a better kickboxer, and I don't think so. I think Shara Bullet's way faster, and I think he has more output. So I do like Shara Bullet to get it done. They love this guy. They could give him any fucking, they could give him any Anthony Hernandez type matchup under the sun, but they don't do that for a very particular reason, because they want to see him strike and bang and with one eye and sell tickets and whatever the fuck. So, again, to your point, TB, pretty sure we just played the Shara Bullet last fight to go the distance at plus money.
Yes.
And now they're like, they've totally overcorrected the wheel. So you've got to fade the narrative there and hope that he either gets it done or just, like you said, stay away. The money line is certainly touchable. Zach, that was a good one, buddy. You're the dad jokes are strong with you, I see.
Andrew, what do you got here?
I'm still laughing at Shara Bullet for My Valentine.
Andrew, does that mean you had a little emo phase in high school? Was that your jam?
No, I mean I would listen to stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, let's go. Come on.
You had a little teenage angst. It's okay.
It's more like adult angst. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna break the trend here. I'm gonna pick Petrosian, and I'll tell you why. 3 reasons. Okay, I'm not saying Petrosian is going to grapple, but I think if one of the two has grappling upside, it's him.
Right.
Petrosian has had 5 UFC fights and some of those were against very good fighters. Like, he's outlanded everyone he's fought at distance. If you look at who he's lost to, it's, guys like Rodolfo Vieira and Caio Barajo, who are legit grapplers. And, Barajo, a lot of people think is like going to be a title challenger in this division. So it's hard to flaw. What's the word I'm looking for? It's hard to
knock him for those losses.
Yeah. I don't knock him too much for those losses because I think both those guys would beat Shara too. And I do think that Petrosian's a good kickboxer, and I think that Shara is a pretty good kickboxer in his own right. But to me, Petrosian's just proven more as a kickboxer at this point in their careers. Like, I've seen him do it against good people. Like, he outlanded Gregory. Off the top of my head, this is how freakish my MMA memory is. I think correct me if I'm wrong about this. I hopefully someone can look it up.
Yeah,
I think he outlanded Gregory Rodriguez 127-61 at distance. And Gregory Rodriguez,
you're sick fuck.
Yeah. And he's not like Gregory Rodriguez is the best kickboxer in the world, but he's a legit guy in this division. And like that's not, he outlanded him by 10 strikes, like 127-61, more than double, 100 strikes over a 3-round fight. Like Christian Leroy Duncan's not a slouch in the striking either. Chara, he has a couple okay wins, but like that Bruno Silva, we're going to get to Bruno Silva, who I've never been high on. That was a pretty freaking close fight. So I'm picking Petrosian. It's not my most confident take ever, but to me, a fight like this is dog or pass.
Oh, the Bruno Silva fight? You don't know this? You don't know the numbers on that? 113-65, man. Come on. What
No, I
you're
didn't know
casual.
for that one.
You're casual. No, I'm just kidding. You're more like fucking Rain Man.
I'm trying to think. I feel like, did Bruno Silva take him down 3 times or twice?
Oh, 3 times.
Okay, I remember the grappling stats from that fight.
Exactly. The fight was, yeah. I mean, again, to your point, if anything goes the distance, these judges are not fucking watching. It'd be very interesting.
Well, Dan told me that they're gonna give it to the guy with OV in the last name if it's close in Abu Dhabi.
Listen again, and to your point, right? If you like the pace of Arman, you have to like the pace of Chara. 6.8 strikes landed per minute versus 5.6. Yeah. And again, to your point, he's faced grapplers, so that will weigh down that number. But it's going to be a very close and interesting fight.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to potentially losing to win 1 unit on Chara. So we're live every Thursday, 8 p.m. Bring everything you got. I'm going to bring my amazing nicknames, and we're going to have a great time. Guru's going to hate it, but we're going to have fun. We've got Ibo, the last Ottoman Aslan, versus Rafael Cerqueira, the Lion. He's one of 2 short-notice Brazilian Lions flying out to Abu Dhabi for this card. So take note of that. We got another one coming up later. But Ibo out here, currently plus 105 after opening as a favorite. Cerqueira minus 125. And wouldn't you know it, I turned on the tape. There's literally only one fight that I could find on Cerqueira from the regional. Maybe I'm not subscribed to the right stuff. I need to get this or that. The moral of the story is I see a long, rangy, athletic kickboxer. He maybe keeps his hands a little low, but he switches stances. He's able to deal with opponents' heavy calf kicks, or at least the one opponent I was watching. The guy was a little shorter from Brazil, but his calf kicks were actually kind of crazy. And this is an athletic striker that's coming out winging hooks, winging bombs, and Cerqueira just kind of like puts up his guard high, weathers the storm, and he's like, all right, man, that's what you got. And then he gets to marching down his opponent. He throws like spinning back elbows, spinning back fists like 2 different times until finally he gets this guy up near the octagon cage and he lands one that just like right on the chin. I think he's got the better technical skill as a striker in this fight. The switch stance is going to be tricky for Aslan. I think he's going to have the better calf kicks, and he's got a BJJ black belt where Aslan, I don't know where this guy's actually putting in his real work training on a consistent basis. I don't know if he's getting any better because, quite frankly, until Anton Turkalj kind of gassed out down in the depths of the no Wi-Fi Atlantic City zone, may that place be forsaken forever. But Ibo really didn't look too great before getting that round 3 finish, and I think Cerqueira is going to be the more technical guy. Jumped in at plus 105 on this one, so I apologize that we're now sitting here with Cerqueira as the favorite, but I don't know. There's something about the trajectory of how they just got a potential contender series booking and then put him like at least a couple months out. For this card specifically. And now they boosted this fight to the featured prelim. I don't know. I feel like Cerqueira coming from, he's trained with Jalton Almeida. I feel like he's going to be the better athlete. It says Ibo is 6'3". According to Tapology, Rafael is going to be 6'4". So I'm very curious to see their face off. But listen, I got plus money and I'm happy to take it here on who I think is going to be the more technical fighter and the only guy that's been the distance out of these 2. So I know I kind of went crazy on the breakdown here, but 2 units, Cerqueira. Guru, what do you got cooking?
I have the same thing. So yeah, I'm with you. We got some good line movement there. I feel like this dude is probably the better fighter. I kind of like the way that he holds up his guard. I feel like he's going to be able to kind of withstand some of these shots from Ebo, who was supposed to kind of be a killer and barely escaped with a win versus Turkali in the last fight. I mean, that fight, we actually saw that fight live. That was fun. That was of a shit night of fights. That was actually a pretty fun fight to watch. But it was certainly not it just wasn't impressive. It wasn't a good look for him. He's going 74-55 with a fucking grappler. Like, it was just, he was getting rocked all over the place. It was bad. So I don't trust this guy. Give me the new guy. Give me the new shiny toy. What do you like, Elvis?
Yeah, so this fight was interesting for me because my eyes, again, limited tape on Rafael, but I didn't like what I saw from tape. That being said, the potential downside of backing Aslan in this spot, given the fact that, we don't know what Rafael's grappling is like. He allegedly has a black belt and trains with gelatin. Like, that's a lot of potential downside on the Aslan side. So backing him at pick'em or even a little worse is not something I'm interested in. Like I said, I didn't like Rafael's striking on tape. He hasn't really fought anyone noteworthy. Aslan, he's a decent striker. I wouldn't say he's good or great or bad. He's just okay. Close fight with the Pleasure Man, who, I faded a bunch in the UFC. But that being said, he's still like a UFC guy who Rafael's just not faced anyone of that caliber. It's a tricky fight for me. I guess I'll go with what my eyes tell me and pick Aslan, but I would not be surprised if Rafael wins this fight at all. I actually think he has the higher upside here, given those question marks, whereas we know what Aslan is and we know his grappling is not great. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Appreciate that. We'll see how this plays out. Could totally be guy making debut, flying across the world, limited tape, and hey, maybe this isn't the right pick, but we'll see, man. I'm looking forward to this fight. Should be a fun one. There's a reason they moved it up to the feature prelim, that's for sure. All right, here we go. We got Hands of Steel, Jeff Neal, minus 285, Rafael dos Anjos, RDA, plus 230, over 2.5 at minus 188, with the under 2.5 at plus 145. Man, I mean, who is it? Whoever shoots a takedown first is a Dusty Bish. Is that kind of how this fight's going to play out? Because RDA does not like facing wrestlers, but he will fight them. But that's like his biggest kryptonite. And Jeff Neal, he's had kind of trouble with faster, more technical strikers, but he's coming in with a sizable height, youth, and athleticism advantage. So, man, I'm really curious to see how this plays out. I don't think RDA will be able to implement his wrestling at all. But if he does, I mean, the grappling could have a high upside. It's just seeing him not be able to take down Vicente Luque, who has been taken down and controlled before. It just makes me not think that he can kind of pull off the wrestling at 170 like he needs to. Like, Kevin Lee fight doesn't tell me what I need to know about wrestling at 170 because they're both just truly guys that would be better fit for like a 165 division at the end of the day. So Jeff Neal, I mean, he's a true 185er, goes to a split decision with Ian Gary, and he's probably going to land the more damage with his boxing. And I don't think he's going to succumb to the calf kicks or the body kicks from RDA. So I think he's going to be landing cleaner in the exchanges. He should be a little bit quicker to the punch. And even if he's not winning by knockout or by finish, he should just have just enough volume to get by to a decision here. It's just minus 285 on Jeff Neal here at this juncture. Projecting how I projected to play out, it's just not worth it to play for me. And I don't think that taking RDA, who's turning legit 40 years old, it's his birthday on fight day. I mean, is that something I really need to do at this juncture? I mean, listen, if we're getting prime RDA,
you need it at this juncture.
What do you think?
Because you said juncture like 17 times tonight. Juncture. That's your favorite word.
Fair enough.
Somebody's nickname next week better be juncture. No, you know that I've got this fight. I'm sorry, you keep cutting in and out. What?
Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay. So I like this fight to go the distance. I don't see Jeff Neal finishing RDA at all, right? I mean, RDA is somebody has been tough as nails. It took somebody like Rafael Fiziev till round 5 to get that finish, and RDA won round 4. So it's a tough go of things. Has Jeff Neal fought since the Shavkat fight? He had he had the loss to Ian Gary. but we expected that as well. Split decision. Again, judges aren't fucking watching. It's a clear Ian Gary win. I do like him to get the rebound here, but yeah, minus 300. Why? I don't expect him to go to get a finish. So I'll take like minus 130. Fight goes the distance. I think it should be like fucking minus 200. I mean, I think there's real serious value here. So he's not getting finished on his birthday. Well, maybe by his wife, but ayo. Andrew, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm picking Neal here again. Not like a riveting breakdown, but he's been historically very hard to take down. He's the better striker. He's more explosive at this point in his career. I don't see too much of a path here for RDA. Like, I guess he mixes in a couple takedowns, keeps it reasonably close on the feet. Like, I don't give him really much at all finishing upside. I think Neal wins a clear decision here. 30-27 type fight. Probably not the most exciting, but very decisive.
Yeah, I could totally see it. Totally. Loving it. Oh my God, we've got another Superman, Mateusz Rebecki versus Miktybek Minty Bets Orolbai. You could also go with mouthwash because he's like Oral B. I was undecided. I went with Minty Bets. So Miktybek out here, he's 6 years younger. He has an 8-inch reach advantage and a 3-inch height advantage. And unless Rebecki is getting a very early finish here, I just don't see how this is like the younger version of Diego Ferreira in Miktybek Orolbai. This guy's going to chain grapple. He's going to wrestle. He's got crazy scrambles. And while he can get hurt on the feet and kind of look like a mess at points, he does have really good survivability and reactive takedowns. And I think that he's just going to be able to do more. Like, he's going to be able to get wrist control a lot easier with this gigantic reach advantage. And Rebecki, if you force this guy to work, I mean, he's huffing and puffing heavy as we get deeper into the fight. And you just can't do that against someone that's going to have the type of pace and chain grappling of a guy like Orolbai. I'm a little hesitant on the parlay aspect of this thing, but I think like Orolbai in an over 4.5 minutes or over 1.5, I think that's the sweet spot here. To do like a little same game parlay on this fight, or like Orolbai to land 2 takedowns and to win the fight. I think that those would both be like interesting ways to play him, but not have to tie it to another fight if you feel the need to like get a parlay out on this one. Guru?
Yeah, I don't know. It's really tough. I do expect Orolbai to be the better striker, and I mean his grappling is pretty fantastic as well. It's just like we haven't seen. Yeah. No, I do. I do like Orolbai in the fact that I actually kind of, when you look at Rebecki's last fight versus Diego Ferreira, it shows real questions about his durability and his like his cardio and his ability to be the nail and not just the hammer. So I do like Orolbai here. What's that under? I like the under. That's kind of interesting. Did you say that, TB? Did you say that you like the under?
Well, I liked Orolbai like at some point after round 1 was kind of my.
That's an interesting one too. Maybe like the Orolbai in over 4.5 minutes.
Exactly. Like, I know you weren't.
Yeah, you're right. I think
what I said.
I think that's smarter. That's a smarter way to chop up the pie.
Yeah, I don't think Rebecki's getting finished in round 1 here. I think he's too explosive and that he's got enough technical grappling to not just give in early. And if he would have, like Diego would have gotten the tap early.
So right? You know what? So, I'm gonna take a bigger chunk of the pie. I'm gonna go Orolbai in over 1.5.
Nice, Andrew.
All right, I'm gonna give my crazy pills. Take it a week here. Like, how did we go from Rebecki being minus 400 against Carlos Diego Ferreira, who's an absolute beast, to plus 300 here against Orolbai? Like, I was all over CDF in that fight, but here it just doesn't make sense to me. It feels like Orolbai's absolute upside here is this price. Like, I can't really see a scenario where we look back and we're like, oh yeah, Orolbai minus 300, 320 was was good value. But I do feel like there's iterations where we look back and we're like, oh my God, Rebecki was plus 250, plus 275 here. So to me, it's dog or pass. And like, yeah, Rebecki does have, I don't even know if I could call them cardio issues. He basically just goes ballistic from the opening bell. And yeah, he just goes nuts until he sprints until he can't anymore. And I recognize that could be an issue in round 3, but I mean, Orolbai's gonna have to fight at that pace too. And his round 3 against Elvis Brenner didn't exactly look fantastic either. So yeah, I'll pick Rebecki here.
You honestly do make a lot of sense because he's only fought Uros Medic, who can't fucking grapple, and then the Brenner fight, which is a fucking dog fight.
Yeah, but Brenner, I mean, he's notoriously dangerously, disgustingly dangerous in round 3. I'm sorry, he's got crazy cardio, and
I'm talking
he's
about
got
I'm talking about the fight as a whole. The fight as a whole is is fairly violent. No.
Yeah, I think to the point, it's like if you're taking Rebecki, I think like a round 1, round 2 type of idea could be super interesting. We've seen Orolbai hurt plenty of times. I tend to think I don't think we see the finish though.
Interesting.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I like Andrew's saying, and like I said before, I don't feel like some other fights. I don't feel the need to parlay Orolbai out to other different fights. And if I'm going to waste any money, it's going to be on like a same game parlay and not tying it to anything else. I'm not as confident as like a Khamzat Lerone Murphy type of idea.
That makes sense.
All right, we got Abu Sapien Magomedov versus Bruno Hulk Ferreira.
It's actually his name, which is really funny.
Right, it's his name, but it's also his genus and species, Abu Sapien.
Kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species.
Caesar home is all I have to tell you. Front kick to the body. Abu's. The things that I'm concerned about here is it doesn't seem like he loves aggressive, crazy pressure from his opponents. Like as Warlley Alves is swinging away early, like I don't love the way that he's like kind of running backwards on his bike and trying to get away. Now it's the smart thing to do tactically, but the visual of it is not necessarily like, oh boy, he kind of doesn't want to have to deal with that. And you watch him get knocked out on like 30 seconds in PFL against Taylor, and you're like, oh boy, well, I guess that's what happens if he gets touched. So I understand like the thought of Bruno Ferreira potentially being able to do that. And then I watch him just get absolutely like he's having a real tough time with Mr. Dustin Stoltzfus in his last fight. And he gets back to the feet, but I mean, he is winging sloppily. And if he doesn't land that absolutely filthy, amazing spinning back elbow that finishes the fight in a walk-off fashion, I'm really curious what happens as we get into round 2 and round 3. Because while it seems like he was landing the more effective damage in that spot, it seemed like until that elbow that Stoltzfus was going to make it there and potentially get back to wrestling the next round. And Ferreira looks tired, man. He's all round 2 finishes. And in his lone loss, he loses in round 1 to one Nursultan Rozaboyev. And similar things in this matchup is that Abus Magomedov has a 6-inch reach advantage. He's got a 4-inch height advantage. And he's got an absolutely absurd chain wrestling and top control grappling advantage, given that he's also got the height and reach. Like it just makes it that much easier when you go to float through positions. When you have those advantages, you can reach to the opposite wrist to control so that the guy can't post up and get back up. And while he's flowing and he doesn't ultimately finish Warlley Alves, you see him work through so many impressive different positions. And I think Abus is going to be able to put Bruno through the rinse cycle if he doesn't get finished in round 1. So I feel like this is a great buy live spot because it might look really ugly for the first couple minutes, but also minus 142 hindsight. It could be like where Abus could have been like minus 1,000 as we're getting into round 3 and he's got 9 minutes of top control and Bruno like looks like he wants to die getting off the stool. So I think I'm going to end up with some money on Abus here as the favorite. It's just been kind of bouncing around from a line perspective. So I'm trying to see where it settles before I jump in.
Well, I think Bruno Ferreira has been the sexy dog of the week because his fight style is exciting. The way that he switched stances through his punches and is able to knock out Gregory Rodriguez is fucking incredible. Dude's, again, the power, the amount of shots that Dustin Stoltzfus was taking was absolutely ridiculous. The spinning elbow was crazy to smack on that. The dude is dangerous. And, Abus doesn't take damage particularly well. That being said, what we've seen is him take damage from Sean Strickland, right? So I do feel that, like you said, TB, fairly obvious, right? If Bruno doesn't get this round 1 finish, I actually kind of lean the cardio and the way of Abus Magomedov over the cardio of Bruno Ferreira. And that could be a mistake, but it's certainly a hometown fight. And I can see why the UFC put on this fight. It is a win-win opportunity for them. Bruno Ferreira gets it done. You've got somebody very special. And if Abus gets it done, you showed out for the home crowd, and he steals a little bit of this guy's thunder. So I kind of prefer the over 1.5. Like, let's go a little bit over. I think it might take a little bit of time. Maybe that's fucking insane. What do you think, Andrew? Am I insane with the over? Do you like Abus? You getting on the bus with us?
I made a joke earlier this week that I was driving the Abus bus. So that's funny.
Let's go.
I mean, here's the thing. Kind of similar to what I was talking about with Petrosian earlier. Like, Abus's UFC losses are to Sean Strickland and to Kyle Baralho. So a former champ and someone who a lot of us are in agreement could be challenging for a title sometime soon. And, like, I can't ignore the fact that he took a round off of Sean Strickland. Like, I know it unraveled in round 2, but it's Sean Strickland. Like, the guy was a UFC champ, and he was the favorite in that fight and took a round off of, or it was a competitively lined fight. I can't remember if he was the favorite or not. Very closely lined fight, took a round off of Sean Strickland. I mean, yes, Ferreira has power. Yes, Ferreira could potentially knock him out, but I'm fading an early knockout here. I mean, the line's cheap, just to me, considering the fact that Abus could potentially get a lot of top time here. He's just, he's longer. He's the better kickboxer. He's fought better people. We don't even know really what Ferreira's like after a round. Pretty much all of his fights have been in a round. He can knock you out early. He can get knocked out early. We've seen both that. And I just think Abus has proven, has a more proven process, more proven grappling game, fought better people. I think the price is cheap here.
Yeah, seems like we're in agreement. Hopefully it's not short that we're hopping on with this bet, but I think we're going to have some fun here. Shout out to all you guys in the chat. And might I bring up a shining example? And maybe this is because Guru went to go see a certain Rob Thomas perform a long time ago. But an actual Robert Thomas out here. Shout out to you sharing the show, following us across all of our accounts on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it these days. But shout out. Stand up, dude.
Just now.
Yeah, be like Robert, okay? Be like Robert. That's all that we ask. Just be super cool, and it's all free. It doesn't cost you a thing, right? Like the show, subscribe to the channel. It just helps so much, and like we're here to have a good time. We try to bring on, like, does it get any better than Andrew Gambas for UFC 308? I mean, come on, like
no, it literally doesn't. And again, I said this to Andrew. Andrew broke the record for quickest confirmation to come on the show within 60 seconds of DMing Andrew. He must have been DMing somebody just in there. I mean, within 60 seconds of asking Andrew if he wanted to come on for 308, he was like, absolutely. And that type of vibe is just something that means a lot, man. It really does.
Hell yeah. Shout out to Andrew Gambas, and shout out to Beast Boy Mr. Jiggles, Chris Barnett. My God, we've got Kennedy, the African Savage, Nzechukwu. He looks super confused. Like, I don't know what he's looking at in his picture there, but maybe he's looking at Chris Barnett across the way. And he's like, I mean, that guy.
He's like, hey, who touched my trains?
Yeah. Oh God. That's not ideal if you know the background of Mr. Kennedy and Nzechukwu. But anyways, I think overall, I mean, minus 750, it's egregious, right? But Kennedy's moving up to heavyweight, where his lack of technical ability and output, I mean, it probably doesn't even matter as much, right? And he's made like some improvements to his game overall, but just seems to lack like the killer instinct at times. We'll see if that turns around here because I mean, this is literally like a circus fight. It's going to be how many inches? Like 8 inches of height. It's 8 inches of reach. Kennedy is just going to be towering over Barnett here. And the question is like, can he put him away, or is this going to be the funniest, sloppiest over
No,
one
I
and a
think
half?
no, it's hilarious. What Kennedy's moving up to heavyweight. It's hilarious. And he's not going to weigh any heavier. He's just not going to cut weight.
Well, I mean, so he will weigh heavier on the scale.
So he's going to be out of shape for Chris Barnett to go put a pace on him. This guy sucks. But the worst part is,
I'm out.
The worst part is that Chris Barnett just had the shit with Hurricane Milton. So he's like all discombobulated. He probably just needs the money bad and just wants to fight. He's had shit luck. So I feel like the time to fade Kennedy as a -600 favorite was the last fight. He might actually just be able to get it done this time. But I love the over 1.5. Let's go. I'm sloppy at heavyweight overs all day.
So, is Chris Barnett an elite fighter? No. Is Chris Barnett UFC caliber? Also no. I mean, that was supposed to be funny, but yeah, I mean,
he beat Jay Collier, man. Come on, give him a chance.
I think that the sneaky angle of this fight, you know what? I'll go as far to say as my favorite prop bet of the week is Nzechukwu wins by submission. I have an average of plus 688 on it, and that's my biggest prop bet of the week. I think if Kennedy decides to shoot a takedown here, I think the fight's literally going to be over within a minute or two after that. I just think that line is crazy to me, considering he's a -750 favorite. And what are the odds to go the distance? One sec, let me pull this up.
I think we bet him by sub versus Clark.
The fight's -500, -450, -500 to not go the distance. He's a -750 favorite. The grappling path is wide open if he wants to take it. I think that line is way, way, way wide. You guys mentioned clear physicality advantage here, probably the biggest physicality advantage you could make in this division or in any division. I mean, Kennedy should do whatever he wants here. And I hope he wants to grapple.
Why didn't what happened? I guess you're right. I guess you can't grapple with OSP, right? Like, so like what happens there? He was horrible in that fight.
Yeah, he did. But also like OSP presents some challenges that Barnett just doesn't have. Like OSP doesn't suck at MMA for starters. Right. Like OSP landed like 100. Again, you could check me on this one too. I think OSP landed 143 significant strikes against Kennedy over 3 rounds.
That's amazing. I love it.
That's it.
It's actually terrible.
What was your number?
143.
Yeah, you're fucked. Yeah,
no, it wasn't.
Nuts. No, you're fucked. Like, yeah, no, you're totally bent. Yeah, 100. Yeah, you got it. That's nuts.
Obviously, Barnett's just not capable of that kind of performance, right? I mean, he's a walking, talking meme, and I'm not trying to. I'm just having a little fun here. I'm not trying to shit on the guy. It's MMA; anything can happen. But
we buy him a beer any day. But you make a very good point about the level of competition.
Yeah, it's like, okay, would you rather have a guy like OSP who he's capable of putting together a 15-minute performance. He's also explosive like you are, and he also has a submission game. Whereas Barnett, he's a fish off of his back. And we've seen, I think the Roberson fight was the one Kennedy really committed to grappling there. And I mean, if he gets on top of Barnett, he's going to kill him.
Yeah, probably. There is such an edge there, and the size difference, I think, makes the most difference. Like, one, knees up the middle, but then two, when he's on top, like, it's going to be so easy for him to get to the next position.
Yeah, and also I think in general, it's probably a better career move for Kennedy to stay at heavyweight as opposed to 205. That maybe that'll be my hot take of this fight, even though it's not really to do with this fight. I think he's better suited. He'd have better results at heavyweight.
Yeah, makes sense to me. I like it for him. Less technical skill necessary, and he's got plenty of height and reach. So. Hell yeah. Here we go. We've got ferocious Fareed Basharat versus Victor Striker Hugo. Or was it also like the Cologne or something like that? Hugo Boss.
Hugo Boss is a brand.
Hugo Boss, yeah, exactly.
Hugo Boss makes suits.
He's the boss.
Cologne, they make clothes, they make a lot of things.
It's unfortunate because Ferocious Fareed, he's probably going to walk all over this 3-piece suit over here. Victor Hugo, I mean, I don't think he's got the takedown defense necessary. In fact, I think he's going to be happy to scramble and try to get his own submissions. MJ, what's going on, man? Appreciate you, dude. Shout out. One of the dudes we've watched fights with in person. Shout out to you, getting us having some fun, sharing a drink. Victor Hugo, he's not going to be having as much fun as we were that time with MJ. So I think just watching the type of takedowns and the way that Basharat is just relentless to get there versus a guy that's very difficult to do it against in Taylor Lapalus. I mean, it definitely shows me a lot. And the cardio holds up. It checks out. There's a reason he's minus 750. There's a reason the over 2.5 is minus 250. I'm like curious if he can get it done inside the distance, but at the end of the day, it's Fareed and it's Fareed by decision.
I mean, would Fareed Basharat and Sean O'Malley not be a competitive matchup at this point?
I mean,
am I crazy? The grappling from Fareed is ferocious.
Whoa.
No pun intended.
Yeah, you see what I did there? There you go. Yeah, I kind of want to fade the narrative here, and I want to go Fareed by. You know what? Actually, I'm going to take TBs. TB, can I book that with you? Can I book that under with you at plus 525? Is that cool? You'll bankroll that. You'll bankroll that under.
Yeah,
Andrew, you want in on that? I know you're looking for more outs.
Damn it. I'll take the limit on that one.
Yeah. I'm sending.
Oh, so sorry. It's the market's actually just closed up. We're sorry.
Now that you've added it to the bet slip, we're actually adjusting the price.
Yeah, sorry about that.
You're gonna limit your account now.
I'm very used to that. Similar experience.
Sorry, this is actually PTSD triggering.
Right. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I think you got to take Fareed by finish here. I think that's a great way to fade the narrative, but not too far. Fareed's dangerous on the ground. Maybe he gets it done. Why not? You tell me why not? Why is Hugo not going to make a mistake here on the ground? He's been knocked out twice and submitted before. What's stopping him from either of those things happening right now? He's a minus 750 favorite, but you're giving me an over at minus 250. Something's wrong. What do you think, Andrew? Am I onto something?
No, I think that's fair. It's kind of like, Basharat's a decisionator type, but you kind of think one of those is probably off. Like when you're minus 750, you should probably be favored to finish the fight at a higher clip than what's being offered here. At the same time, it's like I could picture Hugo having a couple like good moments, but they're going to be few and far between. Like Basharat's just such a better minute winner. He's more well-rounded. He's more proven. Trust his cardio more. So I don't have a ton to say here. It's just an all-around pass for me.
I think we're priced out.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. All right, we're moving on. In our next matchup here,
two sloppy fights.
We've got Ismail, Austrian Wonderboy Nardiev. I was personally thinking if he is male, then
is that his nickname?
USPS. It was on. It's like his Instagram name.
I like it.
Yeah. So I did a little work researching to make sure I wasn't giving him a nickname if he already had one. But I was gonna say USPS because
you would never do that.
I would never. I'm a man of integrity.
Integrity.
But anyways, minus 175 on Ismail Nurdiev just reeks of a lack of integrity to me. Bruno Blindado Silva plus 145. Andrew, you got any action on this one?
Yeah, I took some Nurdiev very early. I think the line now is about right. He's grappling upside. He's just a better fighter at this point. I think Silva's gotten a little bit, a little bit worn down, a little softer. I never thought he was a good minute winner or a good grappler. he has some KO upside early, like he does in every fight, but I don't give him much of a path outside of a knockout.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Nardiev's tape. I didn't love what I watched, but I mean, as far as getting a chance at the middleweight division, this is a fairly soft landing as an entrance into the spot. You don't have it's much closer travel wise for Nardiev, and again, to your point, Andrew, you look at somebody in Bruno Silva, 23 victories, 14 round one finishes. This guy Nardiev has been finished in round one at least once, I think possibly more than that.
Way more than that. Yeah, twice, I think.
Twice.
One sub, one knockout.
So to me, I have to take I got to dig into Grandma's couch cushion, right? She's not even going to miss the units, right? I'm going to dig into Grandma's couch cushion, and I got to sprinkle a little on Bruno Silva round one. And I don't want to play Nardi at minus 175, but hey, if you got something smaller, you got minus 145, you got some good numbers, it's more interesting to me. I'm going to look for maybe a live entry spot. Maybe Bruno Silva has a good first 2 minutes, and I can get some money in there.
Yeah, not a bad thought. But ultimately, I think this is going to be a fight I'm going to pass on. I'm just not sure how the recent performance of Nardiev brings him back. Besides, it's going to be an exciting fight, and that Bruno is going to be a more than willing participant.
What about the over? Like Silva's talking so much shit about the Chris Weidman experience. He was giving him too much respect. Like, I mean, he's fucking pissed off about that fight.
Yeah.
And you got to figure if Bruno Silva doesn't win, it'll be his 4th loss in a row. He's done. So backed into a corner here.
Well, the last time you flew out here, it was to fight Shara. I mean, is this an easier fight? Is this a more difficult fight?
I think it's an easier fight than Shara, but maybe not because there might be a grappling wrinkle. It's a tough call.
I just don't love.
Sucks.
Yeah, I don't love him, man.
I
would say Dogger pass at the price, but I don't.
It's round one. You have round one upside in Bruno Silva, and if he's starting to win the round and you can get a better price on Nardiev's money line live, do it. But otherwise, yeah, that's basically where I'm at. I'm also not convinced Nardiev is going to finish him, and like I said, Bruno Silva fighting for his contract over 2.5 could be interesting. Fight goes the distance.
We've got the Gladiator, Rinat Fakhretdinov. You could go
worst transition ever.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is the last fight. Where's your energy?
Oh my God! Well, it's Rinat Fakhretdinov, the Gladiator. You can go fuck her right off if you.
You can go fuck her right off. I'll fuck you.
I'll fuck her Radinov is what I'll tell you. Whereas we got Carlos Leal Miranda, the other short notice lion of Brazilian descent. However, he was scheduled to fight this week on UAE Warriors and, in the area, getting ready for a fight this week. So I don't think it's necessarily as sketchy as other short notice replacements, but you do also have to deal with the wrestling aspect of Rinat. And while Carlos has had a bit of a tough time with the lengthy striking of Sadi Boussi, losing split and unanimous decision, we haven't really seen his defensive wrestling tested as much. And he's definitely the more explosive striker in this matchup. If Rinat is not like hugging this guy's crotch within 30 seconds, I'm probably nervous about Rinat's chances in this fight. I'm serious. I don't like his striking. I think he's a bit clunky. He gasses out. And if he's not slowing down Leal with his own wrestling early, he's in serious trouble. This guy hits like a truck. He was an LFA champion. He goes to PFL. The only guy he loses to in PFL is Sadi Boussi, who's fucking gigantic. And I think in this fight, Rinat, he doesn't really have those same type of advantages besides the fact that he can chain wrestle a bit. But it's like, for how long? And at minus 225, like, no thank you. I feel like the sketchy underdog to kick off the card to win the damage-based decision or get a crazy finish. Because, I mean, Rinat could have been finished by that body kick by Elizu. It looked like he wanted to throw up inside the octagon. And then in the Nicholas Dalby fight, I mean, Dalby's not finishing anybody. But, I mean, Dalby's pushing him to the absolute.
Yeah, but Dalby's cardio and pace is fucking pretty
Yeah,
solid
but you
for
know
an
what?
old
Like,
Dutch guy.
but Carlos, he can win by decision. He can win by finish. He's got, you know, he can club and sub. I just don't know how good he is at stuffing takedowns and getting back up off of his back.
I personally gotta go with old reliable, old faithful. We're not by decision.
There you go.
but
And that's
but,
that's a way to
you
play.
you raise good points, and I'll be nervous about it, and it's not gonna
Yeah.
be my best bet of the card. But you know, probably maybe a unit on that, and we ride with the dog and see what happens. I mean, he's not the dog, but my dog.
Okay. All right, Andrew. What do you got on this one?
I think the line's a little bit wide here. Obviously, you know, I get why Renat's the favorite. The grappling upside speaks for itself. But Leal's, to me, he's a good defensive wrestler. He's not a great defensive wrestler. And we've seen Renat, you know, have two pretty ugly fights in a row now. And yeah, I mean, Leal to me is a better striker, and I trust his cardio more. The question is, how are his get-ups going to be? I do think it plays out closer than the line indicates, though.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense to me. But at the end of the day, when you hear the Renat 29-28, Leal 29-28, and 30-27 by split decision
From
Renat,
Jeremy Joe Camicho, whatever the fuck her name is.
and then we tell them to go fuck Radinov, and we get to the rest of the card here. Ultimately, thank you guys so much, man. This is an awesome time as always. Shout out to the new faces in the chat. Hope you guys are like the one and only Rob Thomas and did the right thing to like, subscribe, share all around to your folks. Don't share it to grandma. We're taking from her couch cushions to play some of these prop bets. So that's probably one person.
But you can hack onto her Google account, go onto YouTube, and subscribe from there as well.
You know she's asked you to sign in before to order her something, you know, or this or that, or check her email. Just use grandma's Gmail to log into YouTube. I like that idea, Guru. But before Guru does the right thing to take us off here, Andrew, what do you got to say to the people? Thanks so much for joining us, man.
Thank you guys as always. I appreciate it. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. And yeah, hopefully we'll do it again soon.
We need to do it again soon, man. That was wonderful time. Seriously, thanks so much for joining us. Congratulations on your announcement. I mean, I think it's something worth congratulating, right? That you won't be selling picks anymore because you're making money and you got to protect numero uno. But I think it'll also allow you to be maybe a little bit more forthcoming with people you want to be forthcoming with because you're not behind a paywall. Is that true?
Yeah, I'm hoping to just be able to, you know, pressure off, do my own thing, and you know, whenever I could help people because you know I do enjoy doing that, and yeah, I don't have any obligations, but could just, you know, help where I can or think I can. Yeah, we'll see how it goes, but yeah, I did that for a long time, and I'm glad I did. You know, hopefully people benefit from it. I benefited from it, and I've just scaled everything up so much that it just doesn't really make sense for me anymore.
I love it. And you're a real one, man. Appreciate all you do and the transparency out there. So hell yeah.
Likewise.
Guru, take us away, brother.
Take me away to that special place. Next week we've got UFC Edmonton, Moreno versus Albazi. We're looking at Mr. Aaron Bronstetter joining us respectively. So make sure you guys tune in live next week at 8 p.m. to watch that. It's going to be incredible. Dude's hitting all his grandma couch cushions, what he calls his dart throws. We might be able to get him to say some grandma couch cushions. Seriously, Andrew, again, I know we said it a million times, but we'll give it 1,000,001. Thank you so much for your time, man. Not just tonight, but always. We'll look forward to having you on again in the future. Big bets, big money, big stakes. That's what we like. Make sure you're following my unbelievable co-host, TV Scouting MMA, over on Twitter, Instagram, Pickett, Verdict, Tapology, and Bet MMA. And you can follow me, the Guru Scouting MMA, over on Twitter, Pickett, Instagram, Verdict, Tapology, and Bet MMA. We will see you next week. Everybody, hey, listen, be safe out there, all right?